My friend Stone is an artist. He's a craftsman in a pretty unique genre. There is no limit to what he could have queued up for me.
What's up, man?
What's happening? What have you gotten yourself into this time?
What I got myself into, what we're gonna get into. It's a big bus, but it's gonna get bigger. It will be 50 feet wide, second deck, all the way front to back, but it's basically a floating island.
Like a cruise ship.
Oh, it's a total cruise ship. See this whole structure right here?
Yeah.
It's gone. Just blow it away right now, just like we're cutting it all out. Add wings to each side. Each wing needs to fold up to where it's a bus again, and then drive.
It's like when you see the carnival on the freeway, it's all closed up.
Exactly. When we fold this thing out and we set it all up, we put the sound system, DJs, you don't see the bus no more, it's gone.
You're saying wings, but it's actually a dance floor? Or?
Listen, I already got it, man, it's done. 2 bars, DJ booth right here. It's a themed out thing. Like Headhunter, a lot of skulls, little bamboo, tiki stuff. Somehow you need to figure out to take a 50-foot island that folds in to itself and then folds out for probably one of the biggest festivals ever held every year in the middle of the desert.
I don't even know what to say. It's like, okay, I'm in. I think in order to have an understanding of what Stone's talking about, you gotta know where he's coming from. Part of Stone's business is making these ridiculous pieces for festivals. And a perfect example of that is this one-eyed monster art car we built a few years back. My role in that project was the mechanical side of it. He came to me in almost the same fashion. I'm building this crazy thing. It's gonna have A, B, C, and D. Make it drive.
First big project that Ian and I worked on was the One-Eyed Monster. It was such a big hit. So this is the next evolution of how big I want to go. And Ian is probably the only guy that I know that can help me pull this thing off. The One-Eyed Monster only holds 6 people. This will hold 150 people.
No problem.
Easy.
Can't wait to get started.
Easy breezy.
That line's starting to wear thin. The event Stone wants to take this to is a huge week-long party out in the desert. The basis of this event is a huge communal effort. I mean, people volunteer all year round to get ready for this.
So the name of it is going to be Savage Island. Our crew, Savage Kingdom, we've already gutted it.
Oh.
Come check this out.
Awesome.
It's already ready to go. Blank canvas right here.
It's good to see Stone got a jump start on this. He just blacked the whole thing out, gutted the interior, so it is blank slate. I gotta say, when you showed up in this matte black bus, I didn't know what to think, but I love the fact that you got a vision, right? And you installed not 1, but 2 bars. Let's get it over in the corral and get started. Some people might think, no way, you're out of your mind. That's just part of the fun. When do you get to have a 30-foot long, 30-foot wide vehicle with 2 bars and a dance floor? Come on, what's not to like about that?
Here we go, man. All right, so first thing I think is that we gotta get rid of these windows.
Like with all of my clients at the beginning of a project, I always like to give them the opportunity, to take the chicken exit, to opt out early and just forget the whole thing. This is your last chance. With this type of shuttle bus, I mean, you could go to work shuttling people to the airport.
But you think I wanna work for the airport? I wanna work for the circus. We're going to town on this. Cut it.
Sounds like he should be committed. Sounds like he's committed. The easiest task of this whole thing, these windows unscrew. Let's just pull them out and then we'll relocate those wiring harnesses because that is something we don't want to mess with, guaranteed.
Ha!
There it goes. With this project, there's a ton of gray area.
All right, here we go. I could do this.
I've been there plenty of times before, and every journey into the unknown starts with a first step.
There we go.
I got it. We just got to get these windows out so we can commence the demolition. It's going to be a spectacle. Well, I think it's a solid concept, man. Let's get started. Stone talks about a dance floor on the roof, party on the ceiling. Okay, so I guess we're gonna create a huge structure similar to what would be a roof rack, but people can walk on it. If all our calculations are correct, this will be the second story of the cruise ship. With all these wild concepts that Stone's thrown out, you know, he's seeing the end result, but there's just gonna be a lot of understructure, a lot of thought into the functionality of this before any decoration starts. So all the windows that are coming out are out. You can clearly see the pathway that will be the walkthrough. Stone and his crew took all the measurements for the vertical posts and the width of this second story. We're gonna take those pieces we created and decide where the vertical legs go, where they pierce through the roof to support the whole thing.
Do we have a ladder? How are we
Yeah.
gonna get up there? Come here, I'll just fling you up there.
The great thing about this is it's a communal effort. There's a bunch of people contributing to this project. You know, they each bring their own talents.
This is Popo from Germany, and this is Chef Aaron, our other chef. They're here to help us get this framework up and start making measurements, yeah?
I get to do this type of work pretty much every day with my car projects, and most normal people don't see this kind of action. So everybody's involved, and it's pretty high energy.
What do you think? Does that look good?
That looks pretty good from here.
That hangover?
I
It's
gotta
not-
say,
Yeah?
that's a roof rack. The main concept of this is we're not relying on the bus structure for the support of this. The fact is, it's going to be anchored into the floor of the bus. We create a series of these uprights that are going to pierce through the existing roof to really support it before we take any of the original bus apart. We decided to do this way because Stone is talking about cutting the walls off. It's like the bus was this big, but now it's this big.
Is that a magnet? That's a sensor. Wow,
There it is, right there. As we work through this bus roof and wall issue, the biggest problem I'm seeing is with these doors. Somewhere in this very complicated system, there are switches that tell the bus computer whether the doors are open or shut. See, this is like the Wild West edition, where we only have a freaking knife and a cordless drill, and we have to build an art car.
Yeah.
Once the bus understands the doors are closed, it will go into gear. If the doors are open, it stays put. Our task is to find this switch and convince the bus that the doors are always closed, even when there's no more doors. Just turn that on, let's see if it's a magnet.
Is your insurance all up to speed?
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Whoa, what the hell did you do, Ian?
No gear?
Nope, it won't go.
So these don't do anything. This is not the switch we're looking for. The doors have to come off, and if the bus doesn't move, then we have no project.
Aha!
So it's electric.
It's a micro switch.
So we plug those two together and tell it that it's shut 100% of the time. The doors are never open.
Reverse.
No
No
throttle.
pedal. Let me go and drive just to make sure. No pedal.
This is where it starts to get really weird. It's like bus whisperer moment. It's like, you know, talk to the bus. It's the old needle nose plier micro switch override technique.
Brakes off. Drive. Boom. Here we go.
They're
Hang
good.
on.
Through trial, error, a lot of luck, and a little bit of knowledge, we figured it out.
Booyah!
This is the first major hurdle, and I say we hurdled it. There it is.
What doors?
We need no stinking doors. So, now on to the next. This is what's called full commitment. Let's get it to the shop, weld this structure for the second floor in place, and then we're down to cutting, big time. Now we got the major structure in for this second floor. You know, we start some of the demolition. So getting this open air feel in place is a perfect setup for figuring out this dance floor hinge concept. Oh, that's a heck of a structure. I didn't realize it was gonna be that tall.
Yeah.
Here we are. You know, to elaborate, Stone did not only want a dance floor on the roof, he wants these two giant wings that fold down. So you walk through the bus to this massive dance floor. How big is this thing gonna be overall? I mean, wings, like what?
The wings are gonna probably be 16 to 18 feet on either side.
Well, you know, these wings, they're gonna need some substantial structure. We gotta find out where the chassis is on this thing. It's somewhere in that wall.
Saws all the time.
In starting demolition on this thing, we could just go anywhere and start hacking, but I know we're gonna have to mount these wings somewhere, so before we get too far into the cutting phase, I'm trying to figure out where the structure is. One away. I've never built anything like this, you know, I'm pretty much cars and spaceships, never this thing. Look at that.
No more bus!
This is more like an extreme makeover show or something, you know, where they rebuild a house. It's like a radical living party space on wheels. Whoa! Quality control. Stone's son is here as well, and he's very interested in what's going on.
There's a big hole in your bus, man.
You're the first human shop inspector we've ever
Yes,
had.
what do you think? Tell us.
It looks perfect.
Good
Nice.
answer.
All right, buddy.
Maybe he's a chip off the old block.
Yeah.
You're just entering the dance floor like you're in a
Yes.
triple Lindy.
Exactly,
Full
right?
gain or twist right into the dance party. It looks like the major support structure in these walls is right where the bus wall meets the floor, and that's a perfect mounting point for these wings, because they will, in essence, become an extension of the floor. We got a lot of hands on deck, so it really makes progress rapidly. That's a substantial chunk of vehicle. Now I see where he's going with this. Let's get these walls down.
Here it is.
You don't realize what transformation has occurred until you're there and you see the walls cut out of this thing. I gotta say, this was a good call, man. All of a sudden, the panorama is
Right?
quite a view. So now we know what the structure's made of. We can knock that other wall out and it's ready for the wings. Strange as it sounds, the roof floor covering, the floor on the roof, Stone's crew is getting this wood burning technique to give a little texture to the floor upstairs. I'm gonna continue to cut out the rest of the roof and get everything ready for this wing installation. Even though the bus is in this really half chopped apart, you know, early fabrication stage, the back of it's starting to show some of the flavor. Stone's gone in with the initial concept of what this thing's gonna flesh out to be.
This back house right here is gonna be called the Swamp Dweller.
Right, it looks like something from
Yeah.
New Orleans. You'd see
Yeah.
freaking crocodile hunter or something in the swamps.
Yeah.
That's crazy looking in there.
I mean, it's gotta be over the top,
Oh,
otherwise
it's
what's
already
the point?
looking over the top,
Right?
man. Think of what you started with. This is where Stone's talent really shines. You know, he's a master at this environmental design. You're starting to get a feel for what this Savage Kingdom look is gonna become. It's not a bus anymore. It's like some freaking
Yeah, it's an
I don't
old,
know, it's an old shack,
shack.
right? One of the more challenging portions of this project is Stone's idea for this folding dance floor wing concept.
This was a stage.
Yeah.
Right? So bands would go on it, DJs or whatever. I save everything.
You're not kidding.
We don't get rid of nothing. And
Right.
we might have to cut these up a little bit and maybe make some tweaks, but I think that essentially these have become our wings. And then I have these stainless steel hinges
Yep.
that
Gotcha.
I kind of salvaged from another project.
Well, those are heavy duty too,
Oh,
man.
they're super heavy duty.
Wow.
We got to figure out how to get those mounted to the bus, and then if you can come up with some solution on how we'll be able to, you know, hinge these up and down without using like a bunch of manpower.
This is the biggest part of the project, so, you know, well, yes, I can conceive a few things, but there's always the unknown. This aluminum framing, as cool as it is, it's
Yeah.
gonna need for people to be out here bouncing around. It's gonna need something.
The idea of mine is that this is all module, but it's permanent. There's
Right.
no like, oh, we got to bolt this on, we got to put this on.
Gotcha.
None of that. Just literally fold out, ready to go, and drive. Make it look easy.
This murky description of these folding wings is starting to take place. You know, Stone is telling me that the wings not only fold up for transport, but when they fold down, they have wheels under them. In other words, the bus drives around completely folded out. That's way bigger of a task than a static stage. This is a full driving thing.
So we have two, left and right.
Right.
Basically, these were it's just a huge chassis, and there was just this sculpture mounted to the top of it.
Look at this
This is
thing.
the biggest
Oh, yeah.
caster wheel that they make. So if there's a way that you could chop this up and,
Well, this is definitely strong enough. It's got good bones, as they say.
well, let's rattle some bones.
Stone's got an eye for things that work, and he chose all of these staging sections and put them back together and attach them to the rig. All right, we're a little more, Aaron. Right there. Okay, we're at the height. There's actually a really thick steel beam. We're just gonna drill right through that with this hinge. There's some structure under the floor of the bus that we should be able to drill through and bolt on directly, and that's a huge time saver. Cool. Maybe just tie off those straps.
I got fatter when I was underneath it.
You hear the term getting thrown under the bus? Yeah, I've never heard about getting stuck under the bus.
I gotta go on a diet.
Let's just let this down and see what it does. I mean, it's not real heavy now, but test it before it's got all that plywood on it. Ooh.
Sweet.
Sure, the hinge idea is perfect, but I don't know about dance floor. Right now it looks like a trampoline. We're gonna have to get some structure into this thing. Let's fold this up. I'll get the tractor. One thing I know is this is super heavy, so I got some heavy equipment too. Let's just get it in place and see what we're working with.
1, 2, 3.
Piece of cake.
All right.
Crunch.
All right, there we go.
So this
Whoa,
is way too tall.
That is definitely not gonna fit.
We mock it up, lay it down, and it's just not gonna work. It's 7 inches different. I mean, you could see it's gonna,
So
it's
we need to
pitching way in. We need to section 7 inches out of it. The downside of this is that it's 7 inches too tall. If it was too short, it'd be way easy to just build it up. So we're gonna have to go through the hard way. It's almost like sectioning a car, but I'm gonna have to go through all of this steel structure and refit it.
So this is one part of the wing, and then we have a whole nother section that was actually bigger than this one. So we want the whole dance floor to come at least to the very back of the bus.
Same old story, different day. Sounds like Stone wants these wings a lot bigger, more towards the rear of the vehicle, and almost triple the size of the original floor pattern.
We're at the point now where I'm making things bigger and making Ian's life a little harder, but I mean, why not? Let's just go big or go home, right?
Another idea and a pile of parts. It's time for me to pull it off. First step in making these retractable wings usable as a dance floor is to section down the support structure. In my typical fashion, I'm trying to find the easiest way through this. Hi-ya! But I think if I make the right steps, I can maintain the structure and drop it down. The whole challenge of this is the main structure. You're gonna have 50 people walking on your work. It's gotta count. Plenty of room. Everything looks good here. Next step, test it out. Oh, wow, you got plywood in place.
So while you guys are busy doing
Nice.
this, check this out.
Yeah, it looks like a platform.
It's pretty square and ugly looking. I'm gonna come in here and just find my curves, and we'll just jigsaw that out. Like
Oh,
this
now
kinda
you're talking my language. You don't
See?
know how I draw that.
I know, you're right.
I'm feeling better already. I was getting all technical, but now I'm
here
right
we
back
go.
in the mood.
No, love, we're free spirits right here, bud.
Perfect.
This is how we're gonna do it right
That
here.
is a happy little piece of plywood. By the time you're done screwing this and putting the jigsaw through it, we can roll that under, and we're good, man. We got the first prototype.
Adam, cut it out.
There it is. So let's get some guys up there. We'll strap it,
Okay.
lift it, roll it under. I bet it's on the money. Lift her up. Here we go.
Hey. Bam!
Cha-ching. Looks good, man.
It's discreet,
I mean,
right?
discreet, yeah.
So driving down the road, when a cop looks at you, you just be like, nothing
Totally.
weird going on over here.
No, nothing weird here. It looks like every other RV on the road.
1, 2, 3.
And now walk it right in. All right, let's drop that wall. This is lined up just like it should be. It's within an inch.
Okay, here we go. Watch your fingers and toes.
And
And
nose.
other parts.
Look at that, that's level.
Holy smoke, look at that.
I gotta say, it's a pretty crazy idea, but here it is. It's gonna work. That's not going anywhere. The concept is, we have these rolling dollies that are separate. Drop the wings to them and bolt them on. And then it's a driving dance floor on wheels.
It moves, it flexes because of the hinges.
Right.
So now that we chop this thing and now we got all these elements going on, I mean, I cannot wait for this thing to actually start driving around with people on it, having a good time. I wish it was tomorrow, but we have a lot of work to do.
Dude, I'm totally stoked on this. This is like, it's worked out better than I thought it would. I don't see any problems really going on right here. It's like,
Yeah, put a slide.
whoa! There's always a clown. There's
Always a clown. With the main part of the dance floor in place and Stone wanting this thing to extend to the back, I got a pretty clear plan on what to do next. Took a field trip out to my friend Cadillac Pat's compound. Hoping to get a few parts for the art car project, but I also want to see his whole collection. Now we know why you're called Cadillac Pat.
What's up, man?
Good
Long
to see
time,
ya.
man.
Walking right in the gate, he's got a lineup of Cadillacs.
There's a point where I've had like a dozen classic Cadillacs. I culled the collection down, so I've gotten it down to the ones I really like.
The chop is iconic. It makes those fins look gigantic.
The shock and all, man.
Right.
It's got flamethrowers in it,
Nice,
super low, it's obnoxious.
nice. On a Cadillac, it's like, it's so wrong, it's right. Wow, look at these two. This two-door, what year is that thing?
60, 59, and another 60. 60 is my favorite year.
My favorite thing about the Cadillacs from the 50s and 60s is they just have their own iconic style. You know, when the fins were the thing, these cars represented big time. Yeah, I have not done a Cadillac for myself.
Yeah?
Maybe we could come to some kind of terms.
Maybe, man. It's got some weird looking furniture on the inside.
I know, I was like, what is those? That's literal bench seating. And his name's Cadillac Pat, but his inventory and interests run much deeper than that. What are these little white cars?
Frenchy cars, those are Renault.
It's like a four-door freaking sedan. Oh, I recognize this. I had one of these.
Oh, yeah.
I did a whole number on it. I put it on a GM half-ton truck chassis. You know, it was all lowered on airbags, sliding doors.
Yeah, you can.
Mine was the Shorty with the single
Shorties are
wheels.
cool, man.
Yeah. I will not ever fit in this thing. Look at this.
I've been into everything. I love basically everything with piston, you know, from big old cruisers to little race cars. It's just stuff that you don't see all the time.
Yeah, this thing is so cool, man. Is this a KB8?
This is I believe it's a KB7 if I
Okay.
remember right.
It's definitely on a different chassis, though.
Yeah, it's on a Ford dually chassis. And the chassis and the motor used to belong to Parnelli Jones. It was his tow rig.
Wow.
One of the weird things when I first found it, I'm like, is it gas or is it diesel?
Right,
So one of the first things I did, I unscrewed this cap, and I'm like, it don't smell like anything. And then I see these pipes. The guy was a horse guy. He would haul his horses around with his truck.
Okay.
And these were water tanks for his horses.
You really screw with the guy who tries to siphon your tank, right?
The guy worked at Budweiser, so these are pipes from the Budweiser brewery down in Van Nuys. Mud flaps. These were made out of conveyor belts from the Budweiser plant.
Everything's got a story. Nothing says desert getaway like a stage in your backyard. Look at this thing. Pat's really into the music scene, so he built a really cool stage for him and his buddies to rock out on.
I had a buddy of mine helping in the deconstruction of the House of Blues on Sunset Boulevard in
Oh
Hollywood.
yeah, for sure.
And he called me up and he says, hey man, you interested in some metal signs from that venue? And I'm like, well, yeah. So I was
Stage.
like, it'd look rad if I made a stage for this thing. And it went from a small stage to this.
What is it, 16 feet tall? This stage is one of the reasons I reached out to Pat. This was built mainly from repurposed materials, and he mentioned that he had a whole bunch of aluminum that was laying on the side.
Well, maybe this will work for you here. It's some 2x2 aluminum.
Perfect. Looks like a shark cage or something. What the heck
Yeah,
was this?
man.
Yeah, we're building this art car. It's like a mobile stage.
Okay.
It's this material. It's 2x2,
Oh,
crazy
cool.
enough.
It's yours, man. Get it out of here.
I know, you got stuff, so do I. Pat's more than willing to donate this to the cause, so that's always a plus. You know, favor for a favor, that's how we're rolling.
Put it to use. Man, you gotta check this out.
More Cadillacs.
More Cadillac.
Whoa, yellow, 59 two-door. That's a lot of car. Like most car guys dream of, Pat has numerous collections in a lot of different corners of the ranch.
She's a fun car. Me and the wife got married in this one.
That's some Americana right there.
Right? Speaking of Americana,
Oh,
you into
yes.
Smokey and the Bandit?
T-top Trans Am. Oh, yes.
It almost makes me want to wear a cowboy hat.
That's what I'm saying. This is like, oh. You cannot go wrong with the Smokey and the Bandit style Trans Am. This one's got the big engine, it's got the T-tops, it's got the screaming Firebird Trans Am logo.
This one is old Joe Balon car.
That's like one of the freaking West Coast Customs legends.
Right, right.
What was it?
It began life as a '65 Impala.
What an ugly machine. And when I say ugly, I mean right up my alley. Thing that turned me on most is this guy was a risk taker. Same vein. Live fast, take chances. This car was definitely radical for its day. Again, to each their own. What was he thinking? I don't know. Look at that, it's like 7 feet from the back tire. I've never seen anything like this, so right away, it speaks of the man's character. He's like, I'll do whatever I want.
This is a Bozozoku Japanese gangster bike.
Them some
With the-
strange gangsters.
What the delinquents would ride around in Japan and terrorize little neighborhoods with. The people that know what they are trip out.
It's like punk rock. It's like in your face, I don't care what you think, I got flair. These cars are just madcap. A lot of people might not get this style, but I've seen it in magazines. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. The styling is called Bozozoku. So in Japan, it kind of started out with the motorcycle scene, and it kind of morphed into the car scene. You'll see a lot of this style in like some of the anime cartoon like magazines and stuff.
It's a cartoon you can drive.
You know, you go down the street, you know, people will remember you. They'd be like, what the heck is that?
That guy.
What's wrong with that guy?
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. It's full cartoon mode, you know, right to the point of almost being undrivable.
Woo-hoo!
The heck is that thing? I don't know what the heck I'm seeing when he comes out. He's just like floating across the driveway on this yellow shape. As he pulls up, I'm like, that's parts of a Volkswagen.
So we got the front fenders,
Right.
the back fenders, merge it all into one, slice and dice it to fit under the body, and then voila. There you go, K for roller.
If you know anything about me and VWs, I just became hypnotized.
We could sell you a body or a finished one.
I think you got a hit here, man.
Right, right.
I think everybody's gonna want one. Has it got a weight limit?
No weight limit so far.
Knees in the breeze. I've never been that much of a, like, you know, biker guy, but this is right up my alley. And you're set up to build these for people, right?
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
get one. Just like I say about Volkswagens, they're all happy toys, you know? You cannot get on this thing without a smile.
Yeah, man, that looks rad.
Nice field trip, a little test ride on a prototype, and I got the materials for the art car. Back to the lab. I'll take it. See you later. Send my truck home. This crazy concept is a go. The bus drives fine with those wings folded up, as prescribed. It looks like a bunch of carnies coming through my neighborhood. We're gonna have to definitely mellow this out.
It still works, even after chopping it up.
I hate to say it, but you look a little like a hippie coming down the driveway, man.
I'm not no hippie.
Stone's mode here is to completely hide the donor vehicle for this project. In party mode, you don't even know it's a bus.
We gotta hide every inch of this bus. We can't let nobody know that there's an actual bus underneath that. We're gonna make it look like a float. Right here, I started with this wood paneling, right?
Yeah, it looks cool.
Pop it right off.
Gotcha.
Watch fingers. So when we're done with this, you won't see 1 inch of this entire, you won't even see this wheel. You won't see nothing. Being from New Orleans with Mardi Gras and floats and all that stuff,
Right.
we're basically building a big, massive, super strong float, but like all made out of metal, super tough, that we can just bring it anywhere for as long as we want and it won't fall apart.
Super float.
Super float.
Goes on the freeway.
The lights, the windshield wipers, all that stuff will just go away as soon as we put the mask on.
Stone says he's made some progress on the aesthetics. He's come up with this giant mask shape that he wants to attach to the front.
I got this really gnarly, like really kind of aggro looking dude. So here, come check it out. Come in the shop. They're all laying all over the place. So we use a little bit of paint, a little bit of water, get a little bit of rust going.
Okay.
Mouth, eyes, And this is basically his like headdress, his eyebrows.
This is very similar to the way I work. You know, you have a concept, you have a mock-up, there's pieces everywhere. Will everything work together? That's where we're at now. Stone has a lot of experience building these large-scale art projects, but you know, you never know what they're gonna look like when it's actually installed. Let's get it together and see what we're working with.
All right.
We're gonna tack weld it all together, hang it in place to see if anything needs modification. Ultimately, it'll be removable, you know, nut and bolt system.
Can you see it, Ian? Do you see it?
I think so.
Is my imagination coming through your circuits on this one or what? Old Savage World, Indiana Jones, like that whole kind of Temple of Doom.
Oh, right,
and you're always looking for treasures. And then I'm gonna do a lot more gold patinas where he looks like he just ate a bunch of gold and it's just dripping out of his mouth. So
Gold
like, you know,
eaters.
it's a little
I've heard of
throwback
gold
to-
diggers,
Yes.
but gold eaters? I know the drivability of this vehicle is going to be in very slow motion, you know, idling around basically in party mode. And looking at this mask, it's completely blocking the driver's view. I'm sure Stone has already thought that issue through.
I want to try to move all the driving up there.
Of course he's thought it through. That's Ian's problem. Just make it drive. Just like that?
Just like that.
I must ask you a question.
I must ask you a question.
Need to mock it up properly because laying on the floor it doesn't look anything like this. I'm gonna give up this car building business. These parade floats are where it's at.
Oh yeah, look how mean he looks, dude.
Look how the sun
Look
comes
with the
through
sun
the
coming in
eyeballs.
and that light
Yeah.
in his eye.
The mask on the art car is very sinister. We're just gonna put a little red lights in his eyes and his teeth so he like kind of lights up a little bit.
Down on the right,
This side?
up on the left, yeah. A huge part of this concept is how it looks at night. That's really when the parties pop off. So, you know, the idea of illuminating the mask from behind to give it a lot of light up features is of paramount importance.
Wait for it. You remember the art car that we've been working on?
Yeah.
Me and Ian just finished the mask. Check that out.
Whoa. Look, it looks like he's gonna be eating me.
You gonna pick his nose?
A little nonsense now and then is cherished by the wisest men.
Oh, gross.
There's no accounting for good humor, especially grade school humor. The last element to this mask is the ears.
Can you hear me now?
Nice
you hear
earrings
me
and
now?
everything.
It'll work, it'll work. So that's
Nice.
it.
Totally cool.
Look, you can't even see the bus no more.
Man, that thing is massive. It's really good to see a portion of this bus fleshed out, full scale. This mask is pretty massive. Stone's plans are coming together. Wow, you don't want to meet that in a dark alleyway.
No.
That's savage. I got to think about this driving from the roof thing. It's evident you need some way to pilot it around while it's in party mode.
I know you could build it, so like I'm gonna go ahead and just throw you onto the bus right now and just like, I'm out of that part, dude. You
Right.
gotta come up with something.
You're just up top with your captain's hat and your hand on the wheel. Scotty, send her into light speed. She can't handle it, Captain. Any challenge or opportunity for the effervescent brain to show its stuff, you know, the mad scientist part of things, I embrace. Every build is a unique process. This one gives me the freedom to try out pretty much anything I like. This is a good example of that. I don't know if everyone needs a marina in the desert, but this guy does. We got boats, we got cars, we got buses. Stone said he wants the controls on the art car up on the roof, and the first thing that comes to mind was this boat. It does the same thing. You're up here, you know, you got your hand on the wheel, you're overlooking everything. In the art car, you can see if anybody's in your way. You got full 360-degree vision. This demonstrates the concept, but getting the controls in the bus from the floor to the roof is a little bit more of a challenge. I got a plan. It's got the look, right? Some pirate ship stuff. Got some stuff mocked up here, doing a little thinking. And my whole task is to just come up with a proof of concept and, you know, sell Stone on the idea. All about the oldest template material in the books. Pizza box templates. they're free with pizza. The first step is to deal with the steering issue. I'm just gonna come in with this X that's centered on the wheel. Up here is the boat steering wheel. And there's a universal joint right on the top. That way the steering wheel stays there, and this thing goes right on top. For our purposes, we've got to be really strong and really simple. The pedals are going to be a little more elaborate. We'll call this Exhibit B. I don't want them to be linked directly. What I want is from the bottom of the seat, there's this bracket that's bolted to the floor. Your pedal is here. There's a rod that comes out, and then there's a wheel on it. So the thing about these pedals, it's cool because it has heel action. So you have full control of the acceleration. Instead of just picking up your foot and hoping it returns, you can stop it. The same thing with the brakes. You take the brakes off or on, heel or toe. Now that Arts and Crafts Hour is done, Exhibit B, Exhibit A, let's see how these things will work out. Describing it to someone, this could seem a little harebrained. Hey, it's yet untested, right? I think it's guaranteed it's gonna work. That's the top half, and this is the bottom half. I already welded up this X perfectly square, so it's flat. I had this old U-joint, I just welded it onto there. A lot of what I do is to just find something or some things. So you see there's a variety of materials in use, namely the steering wheel, the pedal cluster, etc., and then connect the dots. And the whole idea is it's just like the steering column in a car. This attaches to the bus. This sleeve here goes right in. There you have it, one full custom steering shaft. It always stays horizontal. That's a huge angle. We won't even be dealing with that. We're almost straight. In theory, it seems like it's all gonna work once it's installed, but we're not there yet. This steering is simple. You see it's one rod right straight through. That's why I did it first. The more complex part is this pedal assembly. First thing I gotta do is set up these Heim joints. Just like the universal joint in that steering shaft, it's got a little wiggle. I like figuring stuff out. This is a pretty unique challenge. I just kind of thought about this pedal actuating system simply by not wanting any friction on the pedal and not wanting to modify the bus pedal. So it just felt to me like a roller design would be the most fluid. Let's just imagine that that's the bus gas pedal. So what this does is it rides on it, just like that. And I attach the vertical rods anywhere in here. It's not the weirdest thing yet, but it's definitely not the most conservative. This rod is way small. This is just an example. So you're up there, you press on the gas, and that presses on the gas. Gas and brake, both in the same way, like a marionette. And as an emergency procedure, this spring is gonna hang somewhere on the rod. So as you press down on the gas, it always comes back up. So it'll take some foot to get this thing going, but as a safety feature, guy falls off the roof, the bus stops. We're getting close. The deadline for the event is coming up. I'm excited to get this Savage Island into test mode. It looks like Stone and the crew have been making a lot of progress. It's all coming together. We're running short on time. I got everything I needed to established with the steering and the controls so you could drive it from the roof. Stone's really been working towards this savage look. Leopard print on the floor, there's a lot of rope details, rope ladders, a lot of carved wooden elements. We got this dance floor and its extensions in place. It's come together. This thing is looking crazy cool, man.
Right, isn't it? This is only half of it, but
There's been way more going on than when I saw it last.
I can't wait to see my kid's face when we drive this thing around and he's able to see all his hard work, all of our crew's hard work.
What's up, laddie?
Gage helped us
Oh, wow.
get these flags done.
Your dad wanted to drive this thing from the roof, so I set up some parts. It's ready to test.
So the brake and gas
Yeah.
pedals all hooked up?
Oh, you know it.
Yes.
I gave Stone a quick rundown on how everything was supposed to work, but now it's time for the shakedown run. Let's boogie. You first.
It looks like it's gonna work. I'm pretty sure it will, because I know his track record.
Hop on up.
Here we go, we're about to test it out, go cruise around.
Up above, it's kind of like a pirate ship. These are the moments memories are made of. No good story ever started with, here, hold my milk. Let's run it.
Let me know when we're ready.
Here's the call from the basement. You can hear he's ready. Full ahead, put her in drive.
Here we go.
So see, my foot is on the brake upstairs. Let's take it off, and it rolls. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Look, no hands, Mom. Driving a big 40-foot bus. Just sitting here.
I was a little worried about throwing that wrench into, Ian's gears, but he knocked it out of the park.
Forward, hope.
It was like effortless. Drove like a dream.
This is exactly what we wanted. This is perfect.
That's what I'm talking about. Driving on the roof. Driving from the roof concept was a great call. Sitting up front, you have a very clear and safe vision of where you're heading.
Reverse!
And you hear the reverse? Back her up.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
Wow, it actually happened, from concept to completion. We're actually on a boat.
Ian, this is perfect, dude. We are moving and I'm not driving. I love it.
Around the world and back again. That's the sailor's way.
How'd that feel with the pedals and stuff?
It's perfect, man. It just wouldn't be a complete success without letting the captain take the wheel.
Wow, this thing's fast. You gotta get a little feel to it. There we go. There it is, there it is. Boom! Ian pulled it off or what?
He did. Ian, you did a good job. I don't know if he can hear me.
He could hear you. Say it louder, right?
Ian, you did amazing.
This thing's driving real good, but it's kind of like an elephant in an ice rink. It needs some room to roam. It's been a fun ride. I always love a good project and a challenge, but the big payoff is seeing all the people respond to it. Folks who never even understood what we're up to. You can tell Savage Island is in full effect.
It was a lot of work, but we got it done. To be in the wide open space with like 50 people on it and just cruise around, I couldn't have asked for anything better than what's going on right now.
The challenge from the start here was to take a city bus that could fold up, drive to an event, and become this floating island, Savage Island party barge. Mission accomplished.